Imagine standing beneath a power line carrying hundreds of thousands of volts. You look up and see a tiny sparrow calmly sitting on the wire. No sparks, no smoke, no sign of danger. Yet, if you touch that same line, it could kill you almost instantly. So why does electricity ignore the bird? Is its body somehow immune? Are its feet made of a special material? Or is there a hidden rule of physics that most people never notice? The answer is far stranger than it first appears, because birds aren't surviving electricity by being stronger than it. They're surviving by almost completely avoiding it. And once you understand why, you'll never look at power lines the same way again. Electricity has always seemed mysterious. You can't see it moving through a wire, you only notice it when something lights up or when something goes terribly wrong. That's why it's easy to imagine electricity as something that attacks anything it touches, but that's not how it behaves. Electricity is incredibly lazy. It always searches for the easiest possible path to travel. It doesn't want to move through everything. It wants the quickest route from one electrical potential to another. That tiny detail changes everything. When a bird lands on a single power line, both of its feet are touching exactly the same wire. That means both feet are at almost exactly the same electrical voltage. Since there is virtually no difference in voltage between one foot and the other, electricity has no reason to travel through the bird's body. No voltage difference means almost no current. And current, not voltage alone, is what damages living tissue. But here's where things get strange. Some power lines carry over 500,000 volts. That number sounds impossible to survive. Yet even on these enormous transmission lines, birds often perch without any problem at all. How can something carrying enough energy to power entire cities be harmless to a tiny animal weighing only a few ounces? The answer lies in one of the most misunderstood ideas in science. Voltage is like the pressure pushing water through a pipe. Current is the actual flow of water. High pressure means nothing if the water has nowhere to go. The same principle applies to electricity. As long as the bird remains on a single conductor and doesn't create a path to somewhere with a different voltage, almost no current flows through its body. This idea is described by Ohm's law, one of the fundamental principles of electrical engineering. It explains the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance, and helps engineers design everything from household electronics to national power grids. Then scientists discovered something unexpected. Birds aren't completely safe. Every year, thousands of birds are electrocuted around the world. So what changes? The danger begins the moment a bird accidentally connects two different electrical potentials. Imagine a large eagle stretching its enormous wings while perched on a power pole. One wing touches a second wire carrying a different voltage. Suddenly, electricity has found exactly what it was looking for, a path. Now current rushes through the bird's body from one wire to the other. The result is often fatal within fractions of a second. The same thing happens if a bird touches a power line while another part of its body contacts a grounded metal structure, a utility pole, or even a transformer. That's when everything changed. Power companies realized that bird deaths weren't just tragic, they also caused blackouts, damaged equipment, and expensive repairs. Today, many electric utilities install insulated covers, longer crossarms, perch deterrents, and specially designed bird-safe power poles. These simple engineering changes have dramatically reduced bird electrocutions while improving the reliability of electrical grids. Organizations such as the Avian Powerline Interaction Committee have spent decades developing guidelines that protect both wildlife and infrastructure. But the real mystery is why evolution never needed to solve this problem in the first place. Birds didn't evolve electrical immunity.
For nearly all of evolutionary history, there were no power lines. Electricity in nature mostly appeared during lightning storms, and no animal is truly adapted to survive a direct lightning strike. Instead, birds evolved remarkable balance, lightweight skeletons, and extraordinary feet capable of gripping branches for hours without falling asleep. Those same gripping feet happen to work perfectly on human-made wires. What looks like a clever evolutionary adaptation is really just an accidental bonus of modern civilization. Then another question appears. What about squirrels? If you've ever looked closely, you've probably seen squirrels running across power lines just like birds. The same rule protects them. As long as every part of their body stays on the same conductor and doesn't touch another wire or the ground, electricity has no easier path through them. Humans, however, almost never get that luxury. If you touched a high voltage wire while standing on the ground, your body would instantly become part of the electrical circuit. The enormous voltage difference between the wire and earth would drive current through your body. Your muscles, nerves, heart, and brain all rely on tiny electrical signals. External current disrupts those signals almost instantly, which is why electrical injuries can be so devastating. Research from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health has repeatedly shown that the severity of electrical injuries depends largely on the amount of current passing through the body and the path that current takes, not simply the voltage itself. That's a critical distinction most people never learn. Even more fascinating, electrical engineers working on high-voltage transmission systems sometimes perform live line maintenance while the lines remain energized. At first, this sounds impossible. Workers are transported by insulated helicopters or specialized equipment until they are brought to exactly the same electrical potential as the power line. Once there, they can carefully work on the conductor because just like the bird, there is no significant voltage difference across their bodies. Of course, this requires highly controlled procedures, specialized protective equipment, and years of training. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world and should never be attempted outside those carefully engineered conditions. But it proves something remarkable. The bird isn't breaking the laws of physics, it's following them perfectly. Physicist Richard Feynman often emphasized that nature isn't complicated because it tries to confuse us. It's complicated because our intuition evolved for survival, not for understanding electricity, atoms, or the universe. Our instincts tell us that touching something dangerous should always be dangerous. Physics tells a more subtle story. And perhaps that's the most beautiful part of this mystery. Every day, millions of birds sit peacefully on wires carrying enough energy to light entire cities. Not because they're fearless, not because they're protected by magic, but because the universe follows rules so consistent that even the smallest sparrow can trust them completely. Sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't hidden in distant galaxies or deep oceans. Sometimes they're sitting quietly above your head, reminding you that understanding the world isn't about looking harder. It's about learning to see the invisible paths everything else is already following.